Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hello, everybody.
Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Welcome to another live stream with the Bad Sound School. I'm Veronica, and this is Studio Steve.
Yes, and we've been doing this every Saturday on our YouTube channel for the past, I don't know, a couple months now. And we're going to continue to do this every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. It's something that we're really excited about. It's become the highlight of our week. And we show up every Saturday with presentations, for Q&As. Eventually, we have ideas of doing pod audits and actually looking at people's podcasts and things. And so it's really fun.
If you are new to our channel, this is the first time you see us, if this is the first time you see my face, we are the Bad Sound School, and we are coaches, video podcast producers, and we have our YouTube channel, and we have podcast too. And we've been teaching this for over 3 years. This is going to be 3 years.
Yeah.
Students and clients how they can step up their game with their content production, with audio production and video.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got a lot of people here already. Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
I'm nervous. I feel like
I know.
I
I feel a little.
some stretches.
I feel a little more nervous today than usual. We were putting together a really fun presentation for today, so we that's why we were kind of flying by the seat of our pants. We probably didn't have our normal time to like breathe and get ready for it first.
Look, we're still
we've got our breakfast and and a little drink and everything. But hey Stacia, what's up, Fallible Man? Alexandria, Jared, Mind Faction Podcast. How's everyone doing? It looks like Rob.
Hello, everybody.
Rob was here first. He's been here for a while.
Hi, Rob.
Who else is here? Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Today, we're actually streaming on Facebook, too.
Oh, yeah. Let's check that out.
We used to stream in our Facebook group, Podcasting for Bosses, which is now the Pod Sound School community. We changed the name a while back.
Oh, yeah,
and, a lot of people are having issues with Facebook and things. So we decided to be on our YouTube channel instead. And then with StreamYard, it makes it so easy to stream to both places. So we've been streaming there instead. So
who else is here? So the computer is as far away and
you can't see it. Well, I pretty much gave everyone a shout out. We also got In the Granite, Podcasting 101. Get it, record it, and if it's valuable, real, can't be denied.
Yes. I love that.
Easy enough, right?
I love that. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get to it?
Don't wait any longer.
We need to get some music eventually to start these off with, and to have I feel like a little music would be nice.
I can sing.
You can sing? All right, good. So as the title of the video suggests, we are talking all about 11 steps that you can put to use to launch a podcast. And so for those of you who already have a podcast, this is for the beginners. We really wanted to do this because a lot of people in our community have been watching our videos for a while, and they've also been on our YouTube channel or in our Facebook group. There's a lot of people in our Facebook group who have yet to launch their podcast. And it makes a lot of sense because I know for me, I was sitting on the idea for 2 years before I finally started a podcast with my brother about movies. And that's kind of what started the whole thing. And then, so it takes a little bit to, you like the camera switching there?
Yeah, like I'm just barely getting used to.
Yeah, I know. It's nice. And so it's totally normal. It takes a while, but we're hoping that we can like kind of just give you that push and kind of be like, okay, now's the time. And just kind of take away a lot of the overwhelm, because there's a lot of overwhelm that comes into it. And we actually did a video a while back on our channel, I think 2 weeks ago, where we interviewed a bunch of podcasters, and they talked about, and Stacia was one of them, and talked about, what it was that finally got them kind of getting started. And it was pretty much the same for all of us. We're just like, I got to do this. I just got to start before I'm ready. I got to get in there and just record whatever I feel like I can record and put it out on the players, and then improve as I go along.
Yeah. Not to mention that we are living kind of a revolution with all of us just saying, no, we don't want to stay in our corporate jobs. We need a change. We're going to go out and we're going to create our LLCs. We're going to create our own businesses. We're going to be entrepreneurs, because with the whole, COVID and people losing their jobs and working from home, like a lot of us realize that we have a lot of talents and that we are underpaid and not appreciated for the great things that we are making happen every day at our jobs. So there, we were reading an article the other day, like how many businesses are being created or were created the last 12 months, and it's like really, really like impressive. And it's just like it gets me pumped
Hmm.
because if you're there, if you're watching this, and if you have no idea, but and you see people around you like just putting themselves out there and creating businesses and doing the thing, and you're like, I have no idea how to start. Well, I think podcasting is a great way for you to start, because you can just start having conversations, leaning into your curiosity, inviting people on your show, ask questions, invite business coaches and ask them questions about how you start a business, how you get going with this thing that is entrepreneurship. And that's how you start testing the waters. And I think the difference between just starting a podcast and being on social media and making videos is that this is a very, I wouldn't call it low profile, but it's like, if you are timid, if you are shy and you don't want to put your face out there, like this is the perfect way for you to start creating content online.
Yeah, and it's also when it comes to entrepreneurship and like starting a business, it's a really, really effective way of establishing credibility. It's very quick to get notoriety and exposure online versus like the social media platform. So, I mean, if you were to compare what it would take to really have a strong following to cross that like coveted 10,000 followers mark on Instagram, and you compare that to and then look at like what advantages that gives you in the marketplace, whatever market you're in with your business, and then you compare that to what podcasting does, just as far as the power of networking, the power of association that comes from it, and then also just like that branding. Like when we have a podcast, we immediately gain notoriety. Once you get like 20 episodes or something on your show, and if your artwork looks nice, and especially then if you have a website for your podcast and you invite people on your show and you just use that, it's a really cool conversation starter, and it's just that extra piece, and it's really just becoming a must do on entrepreneurs checklists.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
but with that, let's see if I can share my screen here. And I'm not a huge fan of this. We had a real bummer
It's not
moment.
a very flattering
No, it's
angle
because,
of me.
so this is cool. I figured out how to use the smartphone as a way to stream through an HDMI, not through, because there's Epoch Cam and an Epic Cam, or no, Epoch Cam and Irian Cam that allows you to use your phone as a webcam. But this way you can use your phone through HDMI with a clean HDMI output. I just had to nerd out on that because it's really fun. But the shot isn't as flattering. Here, I'll just go there. And
Okay.
that's better. Communication is imperative. So let me see if I can share my screen here. I got sidetracked there. And
Okay, so yeah, so this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna start our presentation. Super chat is also available for you if you have a question that you want us to answer. We're gonna be stopping regularly to see if there are questions there,
and check in with
and
you.
check in with you.
This is a
We
really fun.
wish that we had time to answer all your questions, but there are a lot of you here today. So.
Yeah, and so that helps with the super chat. Just make sure that we do get to your question.
Mm-hmm.
And cool. So this is it. And this can be a pretty quick presentation. We're going to try to cruise through this. These are 11 simple steps
Mm-hmm.
that you could put into place and have a really cool podcast launch situation. So the first one is settle on your topic. And with that, we're really talking about doing some keyword research, finding out what people are searching for online, and looking at ways, doing kind of an inventory of your own expertise, of your own talents, of what you really feel passionate about, what you feel like you could talk about for hours on end just for the rest of your life, like just what fires you up. A good place to start here too is also with any difference or change you'd like to see in the world. A lot of people start a podcast from a calling, and that's always a really strong foundation. And then so it's just about, but then also looking at ways when we talk about entrepreneurship, like look at ways like, okay, well, I'm thinking about starting a business selling this product or offering this service to clients. So what kind of podcast would make sense there? And how could I make a podcast that would be, entertaining, but that would also eventually help me to generate leads and things like that. So this is the step where we take the time to think about all that stuff.
Yeah, and also the step that you look at yourself and your skills, the skills that you're bringing to the table. I can guarantee you that you have accumulated a set of skills in your professional and in your personal life that you can transfer to podcasting. Are you good at writing? Are you familiar, or are you good at learning the technical side of things? Are you good at planning? Are you good at talking, telling stories? So all those skills are very, very needed in podcasting and very needed when you're launching your podcast.
And then when it comes to keyword research, you probably have heard us, if you've watched our videos, talk about Answer the Public. I'm a big fan of Answer the Public. That allows you to do search listening and just to see what people are looking for. You should check it out. It's answerthepublic.com. So let's say you're thinking about starting a podcast about, Veronica, give me a topic.
Matcha tea.
Matcha tea? Okay. There's no topic too small. Or
The
just
benefits
tea
of matcha tea in the
in
morning.
general. And that's perfect for the entrepreneur swing on things too, because you would be selling, maybe you make your own teas and you make your own accessories.
The health benefits.
Yeah, the health benefits and everything else of matcha tea. So with matcha tea, that's perfect for Answer the Public. You just go type in matcha tea into Answer the Public, and Answer the Public will show you what everybody's looking for and all the other different prepositions and phrases. I don't know what you call those little words, but there's when, where, what, why, how.
We know, don't put me on that spot.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what they're called. Usually you know more about English and I know more about the Spanish things because of the school thing. I don't know, whatever. So answerthepublic.com.
Somebody knows?
Yeah.
From the chat.
Maybe
please.
somebody from the chat. What are those type of words called?
Prepositions, no?
Are they no, because prepositions is different. It's so what is that type of word called? Why, when, where, how, can, if, then, there. I don't know. But yeah, we're not the Pod Grammar School. Which is good, thankfully.
We made a few boo-boos.
And we're not the Pod Spelling School either. We're famous for really being bad at spelling. But so that's it. And then peer research as well. So here you can look for, and we say peers because instead
I said competitor and Steven corrected me.
Yes. I was like, Veronica, it's not. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little fidgety with all these buttons.
And me with the food.
And you with the food, yeah. So what do you think about competitor or peer research?
So that is something that I highly encourage, but that I think you should take, you should do it in a way that is not going to hinder your creativity and that is not going to affect your enthusiasm, and it's not going to make you feel insecure. So what you want to do is that you want to go and see what other podcasters in your niche are doing and how are they approaching the topic. What are the things that are working for them and what are the things that are not working for them? Maybe reading some of their reviews, maybe find them on social media and see how they interact with their audience. That's very helpful. With that being said, you don't want to copy anything. You don't want to be a copy of anybody else. You want to be you. You want to bring your spice, your flavor. You want to bring all those good skills and those good things that you have into your podcast. Because at the end of the day, we had a business coach, and that was her favorite thing to do.
Is at the end of the day. At the end of the day.
At
the end of the day.
So at the end of the day, there are millions of podcasts now, right?
Yeah. There's 2.5 million.
That's gonna
supposedly
set your show apart is you. So the more you can bring yourself into your show, the better.
Yeah, I love that. And then the final note on that before we move on to the next step is when you are doing the competitor research, do not try really hard not to get kind of feel like an imposter or to allow the progress that they've made to make you feel like you don't have a voice. That can be easy sometimes. So it doesn't matter. When they started their podcast 3 or 4 years ago, they were worse than when you're going to be starting, believe me.
Yeah.
So just hop in there, know that you have a voice for a specific reason. And the
Mhm.
reason I say peer and not competitor is because there's space for all of us. What's really cool about podcast listeners is they listen to tons of podcasts. They don't just pick a favorite show. They listen to a podcast and they move on to another and they move on to another one.
Yeah,
So
and I want to say something like, I was reading because I'm a big fan of Mel Robbins, and something that she was saying that made me feel better about myself is that when you see somebody doing it and you feel this feeling of I, I, I'm I'm not gonna I don't want to call it envy, but like that ache in your heart that makes you feel like you're getting behind or that you're not ahead of the game. Instead of just being resentful of that person and what that person is doing, then lean into that curiosity and ask questions. If it's somebody that you follow online, if it's a podcaster, we're very generous. If you approach a podcaster and, hey, like, how are you making it happen? How are you making money with your podcast? Can we chat? Can we connect? Can I have you on my show? So lean into that curiosity instead of using that to fuel any negativity in you. Just lean into the positive and lean into that curiosity, and you, instead of uh, doing it on your own, then you start creating connections and community and networking.
yeah, I love that. And yeah, if there's that person that intimidates you or that you feel like is doing what you'd want to do, you can contact them.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the next question, we got a super chat question from Big Guy Journey.
Hello.
How's it going? I love this question too. Is thing that I like least about podcasting, and there's no interaction with the audience.
Mhm.
How do you find out what people are thinking? Fat Broke and Single podcast. So everyone
Mhm.
go check out the Fat Broke and Single podcast. Let's give each other's podcast some love. So that is actually also a frustration of, I think, of everyone in the podcast players or every podcaster. And also the listeners are famously voyeuristic and they don't speak up a lot. And it's also, it seems like it can be really hard to get them to take action. So I know if anybody's ever ran a promotion or wanted to run a poll or wanted to get your
And get
listeners,
crickets.
yeah, or you want to get, that you have 100 downloads every episode, but you can't seem to get those listeners to come over and leave a review for you or and so really the ways beyond that are on social media, at least currently.
So whether you are podcasting or you're on social media or you're making videos for YouTube, you will have people in your audience that are two ways. Those who watch your videos, who listen to your podcast, who are consuming your content on regular basis, but that don't take the time to leave a review, don't take the time to reach out, but the numbers are there. And there are the others who are the super fans, and they want to get to know you better, they want to connect with you, they want to know what's the next project or how they can help you, how they can support you. So I think it can be discouraging sometimes when you post something and you don't get any feedback, or you don't get people to validate or to reach out and say, hey, thank you. But yeah, just so know the difference between those two. And also your episodes should include many, many, many call to actions. And many, many call to actions, but don't clutter your episodes with two different things to do, because at the end of the episode I'm gonna be like, does he want me to message him on Instagram and on Twitter, and he wants me to email him, and he wants me to text him on his phone? Just one, and pick that method of communication. And every single episode, hey, yeah, I've been doing this for a while, I would love to know about you. I know that you've been listening to my show. I would love to connect. So make sure that you reach out to me on social media. I'm very active on Instagram. If you send me a DM, I will reply to you. I'm very active on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, and you will get those people to reach out to you. Also, if you're very familiar with video helps a lot because it just helps to put the face to the voice, and it just helps with that connection and that, like, oh yeah, like, this is a real person. Sometimes we forget that behind the content there's a real person. So this is a real person, and I will love to connect. Our personalities are like, what he's doing is super cool, and I want to connect with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that a lot. And there was a comment, maybe Veronica's farther away from the screen.
And I'm blind.
And she's blind, which is actually kind of good because then I can press a lot of buttons and it doesn't distract you too much.
Floss.
Yeah, and
that's why we're still
kind of, she can't see all my floss. Basically, Veronica's eyes are like a built-in Instagram filter. So I look really good. So I really like everything that you were saying there, and we had a comment that
Big guy journey.
That we find that going live.
Connect.
Happy Mr. News Team said we find that going live helps listeners to be more interactive, and then also just surveying people, and even if you can just get like one or two people that are your ideal listener. And so this idea of the ideal listener was something that was really kind of dumbfounding to us to begin with, which is like, who do you imagine like this like avatar of the perfect person who would be this most super fan of your show, and get really detailed about describing that person. Are they like, what gender, what job, what are their interests, what do they like as far, what kind of podcast do they listen to? Are they even podcast listeners? All those questions, answer all those things. And then you find those people on social media, and you don't have to they don't have to be listeners of your show, because that's your ideal listener. And then you can just ask them questions. You can go and Veronica says chismo Sierra, but you can go and spy on their Instagram feed, but not even spy on it, like actually start engaging with them, talking with them, get to know them. Because I think one of the struggles we have is we go to people close in our life, we go to our friends or our loved ones to ask like, what do you think about my show? Where we should actually be going to our ideal listener,
our audience,
and our audience for critique. But that was a really good question. And if you guys have any other questions, make sure to drop them in the super chat so we don't miss them. And we also try to get to what we can outside of the super chat as well. And then let's move on, because that was just step one. So we're going to have to cruise. So step two, let me show you guys. Step two is the name check. And this one is actually a very quick one. Here you just want, when you're deciding on the name, you want to make sure that it's easy to spell, easy to pronounce, and that nobody else is using it. This is huge, and a lot of people skip this step altogether. And and actually we just got asked a question from a student about this. She has a really awesome name picked out, but there's, I think, 2 other podcasts with the same name, which is kind of a bummer. And it's like, oh man, but I really wanted this name.
But in that case, what you want to do is that you want to reach out to, first you want to look at the podcast and see when was the last time they released an episode. If it was a year ago, 2 years ago, then you maybe you want to reach out to the host, to the producer of the podcast, and see if they're not producing the podcast anymore. Sometimes you find people, no, I'm not, you can use the name that I tried it didn't work out for me. So, and they haven't registered the name, they haven't trademarked the name. So in that case, then you have permission of that person, and the name is not registered. That means that you can use it. So don't get discouraged. Deep a little deeper, deep a little deeper, deep a little deeper,
dive a little deeper, dip a little deeper in that hummus with your carrot. Have an apple. Dip your apple a little deeper in the peanut butter.
Dig a little deeper, and if they tell you no, you can use it, then unfortunately you will have to find a different name for your podcast. Which thank you, universe, because that is something that it was meant to be.
And pardon the almond chewing here.
I've been breathing, and I've been
man,
apples.
yeah,
I've been
you're just
all sorts of
man,
sounds for
just
your
a savage today. This is really important for trademarking issues and copyright issues, because people can actually ask you down the road to take your podcast off of the players, and they don't even have to ask you. They can just approach the podcast players themselves. Like they can talk to Spotify and Anchor and say, hey, this person's using my show and I have a trademark. They won't even ask you. They'll just take your show off of the players. And then you can go through and still use all your old episodes, but you're going to have to go through all your old episodes and remove all of the intros and remove all of the bits and pieces where you say the name of your podcast. And rebranding to a brand new name can be really difficult. So easy to spell, easy to pronounce, conveys the idea of your show. And we can move on to next one.
We had the answer in the chat.
Oh, so the answer to what kind of words, and why, when, where, how.
People, like I went to law school and I don't know the answer.
Yeah. Why, when, where, how. This phone really kind of like gives a weird kind of glaze on the face, right? Like, I don't know about it. They are conjunctions, right? Or a conjunction, or is it conjunction? And they are nouns, but they are used to join clauses and phrases. And so conjunction, junction, what's your function? No, Veronica doesn't know.
No, because I didn't go to school here.
Yeah, no.
I went to school in Colombia. We just don't do that.
Yeah, but that's really great. Oh, and then be a savage.
Yes.
And I love that. And
yes,
that's Veronica. Could you be a savage with your fruit again too?
Savage.
Okay, so now we're
here.
just eat the fruit. Okay, now we're moving on to number 3, which is choose your setup. So now we're getting into the fun stuff where you need to choose. And here, this is just, do you want to use your phone? Do you want to use a USB microphone and a computer, or like a laptop computer? Or do you want to use the audio interface and an XLR microphone? And as you can imagine, the price goes up as you go up this list or down this list. And also the quality goes up as you go up this list as well too. So these microphones that we're using, for example, are dynamic microphones. They're XLR microphones, and XLR just refers to the output in the back of it. And the XLR cable is what you use to plug it into an audio interface. And then the audio interface plugs into your computer. What happens there is when you separate all the components out like that, you get higher quality sound, because the microphone was built only to do what a microphone does. And the audio interface was built just to do what an audio interface does, and so forth. But when you get a USB microphone, it's an audio interface and a microphone all squeezed together into one thing. And so the quality of each of those components goes down a little bit. But it's cool because those USB microphones get really good sound. So it's a really great way to start. I would really urge you to get to the number 2 on this as soon as you can. But I also would say don't allow this setup to keep you from starting.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Yeah, because this is a huge pain point.
Here with our fancy microphones, there's a reason for that. Steven has a background in audio engineer, and he had his studio. That's why we were able to bring all that into podcasting. But we don't want you to get discouraged, and we don't want you to think, oh, if I don't have the $600 microphone, then I won't be able to make it in podcasting. That's not true. You can start a podcast, like we said it, with your iPhone. And as you go, then you can upgrade your equipment. You can upgrade your gear. The important thing here is is your drive, is your ideas, is how much passion and love you have for this project. And then the other things will keep coming. The other things will. The first time we started live streaming with a webcam.
Yeah.
That we borrow from our 12-year-old.
Yeah.
That likes to do
video game streaming and stuff. Yeah.
And then you just keep upgrading and keep growing.
Yeah. And that's fun, and you can try to prioritize what you're upgrading to. Hey, what's going on, Mark from Arizona?
Hello,
that's
Mark.
A reminder, those of you who are just tuning in, we're doing 11 steps to launch a podcast. And this is just our PSS 11 steps that you can follow. And currently we are on step number 3.
Oh boy.
So we're behind. So we're going to keep cruising through these. And let's, I'm learning the quick keys here so I can get faster at all this stuff too. So step 4 is choose your editing software. And here we like Reaper.fm, Pro Tools, Adobe Audition, Logic Pro, which is upgraded.
Hindenburg.
And then Hindenburg, which I don't know if it's because I was watching Breaking Bad, but I call it Heisenberg. Every time I talk about Hindenburg, I call it Heisenberg. Hindenburg came from the world of broadcast, so it's really good for podcast editing. And then all these other ones people think of as music editing production software, but they're all really good for podcast editing. Reaper's at the top of the list because I think it's the best all around solution for independent podcasters. Does anybody oh, cool, right here I was going to say, does anybody like GarageBand or Audacity? What other DAWs are y'all using in the chat? Notice how I said y'all? Did it sound natural? I'm working on my y'all. And then yeah, oh, you just give up on the y'all? Oh, okay, well, fine. She just gives up on the y'all and she's eating her apples over there. That's fine. So number 5 is choose your host. And by that, we don't mean like who's going to host the show, because we would just choose Veronica and I'd be gone already. We're talking about web host or a podcast hosting site, right? And so with this, we have tried many of them. We've researched all of them. We're constantly being asked every imaginable question about every podcasting hosting site, and we dialed it down to our 2 favorites. And we just kind of have to do this because what we've noticed is that people come to us and they don't want to know the whys so much. They just want us to tell them what hosting site should I go with. So, but we really love Buzzsprout, and it's a favorite of ours. And that's where we host our podcast on now. We used to host on Simplecast. Before that, we experimented hosting being our own host on websites like Squarespace or Wix. We're in WordPress. You can actually just host your podcast from your own website. That's not worth the extra work to do that. Buzzsprout's really cool. They have the reason that Buzzsprout's a favorite of mine is because of their customer service is just you can't beat it. And then also they really listen, and they're really there for the independent podcaster. Simplecast, who used to be on the list, they are also a really great host. I love Simplecast a lot. Really clean, sleek designs, really simple to use, but they're a little more geared towards the networks and the big guys. And that's specifically with the feature of the dynamic ads. And we actually just used a dynamic ad on our podcast episode for the first time.
Yeah, we did. I love it because as an independent podcaster, then you can run your own ads because maybe you don't have the downloads and you don't have the big audience for these big brands and companies, but you can run ads on your own services and products and your own events and things that you have going on and your social media. And you can do this with Buzzsprout. So that was one of the things that got us to transfer our podcast from Simplecast to Buzzsprout.
And then the Fallible Man says, why Buzzsprout over Podbean? And it's just for the features. Now, Podbean is also a really great provider, really great company. And Podbean might be one that you would choose even over Buzzsprout because they have a lot of phone features that maybe Buzzsprout doesn't have. But Buzzsprout's interface is more simple. It's the pricing options seem a little more intuitive, and it's just all around good. But a lot of the hosts, like wherever you're with, the Captivate, Simplecast, they're all really great hosts, and they all do the same thing. Now, the reason Anchor's number 2, and then we'll move on from this question.
I want to. So the reason why. So to tell you how it works, that dynamic content, we have a sale, a holiday flash sale going on right now with our 7-day podcast fast track. And what we did is that we recorded a little ad. I think it's under a minute.
No, it's 2 minutes actually.
It's a 2-minute ad, and then we inserted into or Buzzsprout. You have that ability with Buzzsprout to insert that ad, and you'll play it in every single one of your podcast episodes. The new ones, the old ones, all of them. And not only that, because we were sending people to a link, then the link will be displayed at the bottom also of the show notes on every single episode. Look, how great is that?
Yeah.
And then when we're done with our sale, we remove it and we replace it with something else.
This is so valuable for so many different reasons and so many different fun ways you can use this. If you want to do trailer swaps or promo swaps with other podcasters, perfect for that, right? Because you might not want to have a promo swap for a podcast that pod fades a month later and then it's stuck in all your episodes. You want to actually reach out to sponsors yourself. So Veronica has a matcha tea podcast. Well, she can reach out to vendors that sell accessories and tea things and say, hey, would you like to advertise on my podcast? I have a small audience, but they are a very specific audience. I can tell you that 100% of my audience loves tea, and that's worth something, and that is. And we don't need huge audiences to be able to sell our podcast to people. So that is the absolutely the biggest game changer for me so far with Buzzsprout is that dynamic ad insertion.
And then there's Anchor too. The good thing about Anchor is that you can host your podcast. What?
Can you sit? I want your seat a little higher. I'm getting picky.
That you can
There we go.
host your podcast for free.
Yeah.
And Anchor, and also Anchor features allows you to record your podcast using Anchor. So that's our other option if you want to host your podcast for free.
And
Anchor is great, and also Spotify. Anchor is part of Spotify. You can monetize through Spotify too. You can have paid subscriptions too. That you can offer to your audience. And there was a question. Go up.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Up. Alexandra?
Oh, right here. Yeah. The 7-day podcast launch program you have, will you go over those editing tools? Yes, we do go over the editing tools in that program. We actually go through Reaper FM. And Reaper is what we teach in all of our courses. I like Reaper for that reason because it's designed the same way Pro Tools is, as far as the way the interface works and the whole, it's designed like a professional audio production tool, and it's way easier to use than Audacity and GarageBand, especially once you get cooking with it. So, and we go through that in the program, and actually in the 7-day fast track launch, which we'll tell you guys about soon in this presentation. We want to tell you all about it because, like Veronica said, we do have a 40% off thing going on only until December 7th. We posted a video on our channel about it, and we made some announcements on social media.
It's our first holiday sale, and the weirdos that we are didn't know what to do. Would you switch it to my?
Oh, would I switch it to you? Yeah, sorry.
The weirdos that we are, that we didn't know what to do or what pictures to take for a holiday sale. It occurred to me that it would be a good idea to hold our nutcracker that we have in the background.
And he's now the podcracker.
Yeah, he's now the podcracker. So we're holding the nutcracker and a microphone, and that's the promotional materials.
That's the promotional materials, yeah.
Holiday sale.
But it's exciting because it's our funnest course for a lot of reasons. Mostly just because of the challenge element of it. It's like, can you start a podcast in 7 days? And you can, but it's 4 hours of work each day, and we walk you through that. And you unlock a new module every day, and it walks you through step by step what you got to do to come out with a really strong podcast launched and distributed to all of the players.
Yeah.
So
we'll get to it.
We'll get to that. Let's cruise through a bunch more questions a bunch more points. So we're on step number 5.
So Buzzsprout for the dynamic content and all of their cool features, and Anchor.
And Anchor for the free aspect, and the fact that you can, if you want to sell your subscriptions on Spotify, you're going to have to host your stuff on Anchor anyway. So here with creating a trailer, this is a big one, and this one
we're gonna have to breeze through this.
We're gonna have to breeze through it.
So much to say about trailers.
We should almost just do a whole live about trailers, right?
I have a couple of videos on our channel taking you to the step by step of how to create a trailer.
Yeah. So you can check out if you just go to our channel. It's a somewhat recent one that Veronica made. And you can also search our channel for videos. You could just type in trailer and find it. She actually walks you through what you should include in a trailer. And then I did a video where I take you behind the scenes
how do you edit
I edited a trailer for a client. And I thought it'd be cool she gave me the permission to put that on YouTube for you guys. So that was cool for y'all. So
basically what you want to do, if you go back to the slide, is that you want to keep it short. You want to keep it, if possible, under 2 minutes. Then you want to tell your people what your podcast is all about. You want to tell people who you are, your why, your format, the format of your show, and the frequency that you're going to be creating, that you're going to be posting episodes weekly, bi-weekly. Also, you want to add call to actions. Subscribe to the podcast, so when I release more episodes, you get notified. Follow me on social media so we can keep the conversation going there. Don't forget about your CTAs. I've listened to a few podcast trailers lately, and it's surprising to me that they don't give you any options on how you can reach out and how you can and start contacting or
Start engaging with them.
Engaging. Why did I say
Being
exchanging? It's like
exchanging.
exchanging.
Well,
No.
I love that, and it's like if you're gonna have a trailer before you have episodes, which is part of this launch strategy, and it's a good, really good, and it's like, okay, well, I listened to your trailer, you don't have any episodes, so now what? So you need to give them a now what, like come say hi in the meantime and come find out what I've been doing, and then they come over social media and they see you, all the stuff all the exciting assets and social media content that you're putting together because you're so excited about your show. So you can take behind the scenes pictures, or you can, take videos, or you can hop on Instagram story and talk about how excited you are. Look, I'm recording my first episode, and really bring people into it. But the reason having a trailer before you have any episodes, if I could go back, this would have been so helpful in my first podcasts. It's because it gives you something to submit to the podcast players. That's the big, like, aha, I got to do this. Because it can take up to 2 weeks, they say, to be accepted onto Apple Podcasts, though I've never had it take that long. They say it can take up to 2 weeks. Some of the other players players like iHeartRadio can take forever. Google takes a really long time too. Google takes like a week or something to show up on Google. So it's hard to define a launch date, which is what we're going to get to in a next step, if you aren't even available on the directory. So you make a big launch date and then people go to find you on their podcast player and you're not there. So a trailer works for that. And then it's also a great piece of content that you can share on social media beforehand, before you launch. So let's move on to number 7. Step number 7. We're cruising through this.
Yeah.
And that's just to submit your trailer. So that's pretty easy.
Yes.
You just submit it to Apple and Google and Spotify. And that, all you have to do is know where your RSS feed is and set up an account with all those. And it takes a little time, but it's not that difficult.
But don't get nervous about that, because your web host will help you with that.
Yeah.
They have ways that you can do it. And then after you have submitted your RSS, and then you post episodes, and they will post automatically on the podcast players after you've done that.
Yeah.
And the steps are very easy. You just have to follow those steps.
And that's why that sort of answers goes along with what I was saying, is that you need something to submit. You can't submit anything to the players unless you have an episode. So a trailer works for that. And then step 8, this one's a big one. And this one's also one that many people skimp out on. And it's a launch strategy. So what thoughts do you have about a launch strategy?
So there are so many things that, like Steven said, it breaks my heart sometimes to see like good content that is not being broadcasted or is not visible. So your main focus here is to like, how can I make people aware that I'm launching my podcast? Am I doing as far as promotion and marketing, am I doing pay promotion, or am I going on social media heavily? Am I submitting my podcast to get featured on Apple Podcasts? Am I going on other people's podcasts to talk about my big release, my big launch? All of those things, if you can look at your calendar and see like, okay, I'm going to launch my podcast at the end of January in 2022, or let's say February, then the weeks prior to the launch, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be showing up on other people's podcasts. I'm going to be showing up on Instagram stories. I'm going to be posting about my podcast. I'm going to be posting about my journey of being a podcast producer. I'm going to be doing all these things. So I create as much noise as you can. You're going to create so much noise that people will think there are other 5 people working with that person, and they go look and it's just you.
I love it,
because that's what we did. Like people thought that we were a team of 10, and it was just the 2 of us working from our kitchen.
Yes. But it helps. And when you have that launch strategy, it just gets you more listeners right off the bat. And then what Veronica mentioned was feature submissions. You can actually, there's a website or a web link you can go to on Apple's website that shows you how you can submit your podcast to be featured. And the editorial team at Apple is always looking for ways to put fresh content in their new and noteworthy list and in their other lists. And so sometimes you get lucky with that. It's not anything to build your whole launch strategy around, but it's a cool thing to include. And they need 2 weeks prior notice. So this is where building a launch strategy, like, okay, when am I going to launch? How much time do I have to promote the show? How many episodes do I want out, and all of that. And that brings us to our next question. But before we do, we got another super chat from Big Guy Journey and another really cool question as well. I'm new to podcasting. My host is Anchor. I'm told my podcast is really good and funny. Need to know how to grow it though. Again, the Fat Broke Single podcast. So that's great. I love what you hit on there as far as I'm told my podcast is really good, funny, because you validated it.
Yeah.
You know that people enjoy it. You're feeling confident in it and you want to grow it. So that alone is pretty much, you're just, it's like stay consistent, grind, hustle, like
Tell
everything people
those
are saying.
people who gave you that feedback to share your podcast with 2 more people or with 3 more people. And that's how you're going to start amplifying and growing your audience. Just tell them and give them an incentive like, oh, thank you so much. I'll give you a shout out on my next episode. Yeah, share my podcast with other people because word of mouth is huge in podcasting.
And then
Just think about it. The last time you listened to a podcast that you really, really like, you went to your wife, to your girlfriend, to your friends, to your coworkers, and you were like, sharing that podcast, you need to listen to this podcast. It's amazing. So yeah, do that.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that another thing is to really get into and embrace research, keyword research, run surveys, and really try to get into people's brains, but then also to kind of trend hack a little bit. So if a lot of people are very successful with trend hacking, and then it's also to expand beyond the podcast platform. So we start as podcasters and we have our podcast on our host, and then eventually we move to, looking at our podcast as one of the players in our overall brand. So the Fat Broken Single podcast, it's not just a podcast, it's a brand, and it exists a lot of other places besides just Anchor. And so that's what you need to start doing, is choosing like one other big platform that you want to push equally as hard as the podcast platform. And that's something that's kind of hard for all of us on our journey, but it's normal. It's like that normal progression to get onto a different platform. And if you're going to choose another platform, choose one that has an algorithm, that fancy word, that the mysterious algorithm that suggests your content to people. So that would be, or that's a search engine. And the search engines that are on the podcast players right now are just kind of a joke. So like I'm talking about YouTube, TikTok, and then Instagram, maybe a little bit too with Instagram Reels. So I was like, man, I don't want to make TikToks. I don't want to make Instagram Reels. The more you can lean into those things and do things that make you feel uncomfortable and actually get on TikTok, the more you might find like, wow, well, yeah, I can put all these same talents and abilities I have towards performing my podcast. People are telling me it's good and funny. I'm sure I could do well on TikTok too, and brand the whole thing under the name of your podcast and stay branded, stay consistent with your colors and everything else. And then just constantly look for ways that you can improve as far as giving people an experience and creating memories for people. And if you can do that to where they're going to go just living their life, remembering your episode, laughing about it, and telling people about your episode. That's my little shtick there. So
somebody was commenting about my nutcracker.
Oh yeah, I put that up on the screen. She says you look great with your nutcracker, your podcracker in the background. I like this advice right here too from In the Granite. Nothing happens overnight, good or bad. 1, 3, 5-year goals, definitely.
Yes. Amen to that comment.
Just stay in it and look at it like, you start looking at it quarterly. What are my quarterly goals? What are my yearly goals? What are my 3-year goals? What are my 5-year goals? Because that's really when people start seeing that exponential growth happen. It's probably right around 2, 3, 4 years. You see like, oh wow, and then you just grow. But you do have to stay open-minded and willing and open to change and to grow and to adapt.
Yeah, that's great advice.
And we're actually podcasting from North Carolina near Raleigh. We're new residents to North Carolina, which is why I am working on my y'all. Because from Utah, where we were at for a long period of time, it's you guys. And I just think that's not the politically correct term anyway. So I'm working on y'all.
Yeah. So we're working very hard to be politically.
Yeah. Where are you coming from, the Waycast? And also, if you're just tuning in, this is the 11 steps to starting a podcast that people will listen to. And we're getting through the steps.
The previous, how many? 8
previous live streams.
You can watch this live stream on replay.
Yes.
I was gonna say replay.
And
Replay.
yeah, on replay, they're available on our channel
Replay.
on a playlist. It's
Yes.
called PSS Live Stream Saturdays, and we do this every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Cool. Well, let's just keep cruising along because we're almost through these, and we've got step 8. We built our launch strategy, and that kind of also we need to know, like basically just when our episodes or when we're going to launch our podcast.
Mhm.
And then step 9 is to set up social media. So it's good to do the launch strategy first because here you know how much time you have to kill it on social media, right? So with here, if you're just a solo podcaster, I would choose one big one. Really just where you imagine your ideal listeners are hanging out and just kill it there. Add a lot of really cool graphics, show up, be authentic, be yourself. Share, like I was saying earlier, just the experience that you're going through. A lot of us are very camera shy, and we don't. Podcasting is super comfortable because we can kind of do it in private and then share it later after we've edited it. And you can still do that same thing with like social media graphics and stuff, right? And just take pictures of you with your new podcast microphone.
Yeah, you don't have to, like, if you are shy, if you are not a social media person, you don't have to jump into like making videos or showing up live or going on Instagram stories. You can do baby steps with with having something in mind that every time or every time you have the opportunity, you push the boundaries a little bit more, and you push yourself out of the comfort zone. So maybe the first time you just do an audiogram that you make with some stock photos. Then after that, maybe the stock photos, but you decide that you're just going to add your voice to that and say, hey, I released an episode. In the episode, I covered these points, and you should go listen. And then just baby steps, like every single time. And then you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to take photos. Maybe you take some professional photos to start with.
Yeah.
Or maybe you get some lighting going on and you take your own photos. So yeah, I want you to keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing.
Yeah, and I love this. It's such a
But
cool.
don't stress and lean into it.
Yeah, and it's just when you're doing this is going to just be something you also do for the long run. You're going to be doing social media promotion.
Social media is your friend.
In addition, it's your friend, and this kind of goes back to the concern that the Big Guy Journey had, and that what all of us are concerned with growing our shows and building an audience. And I think we talked about solopreneurs and entrepreneurs already in this live stream too, and how we want to grow our business. We want to grow our influence online. We want more people to notice us. We want to carve out our communities. So a really cool thing to do with that, and it's kind of along lines of this social media thing, is we're scheduling and we're preparing and we're looking at our launch strat or how many episodes we're going to come out with. And I'm skipping ahead through the list, but when we're doing that, we need to schedule that time, not just for social media promotion, but also for social media engagement. Because if you're looking at trying to grow your show, actually, sometimes what allows us to grow the most is listening, and listening to what people want to hear, and also giving people your stage a little bit and engaging with them. So getting onto the social media platforms, and we talked about this in our last live stream, but there was this idea of, back in the day before the internet, making 50 phone calls a day to generate those leads, right? I'm going to do that 50, no matter how busy I am at work, I'm going to come home and make 50 phone calls a day. Well, in today's day and age, I'm going to engage with 5 new people every day on social media. I'm going to go find 5 new people that I think are my ideal listener, and I'm going to just ask them what's up with their life, and get to know them a little bit. It's huge. And you get that one follower, that one like person that you like feel like you've got something, like you vibe with each other going on every day. Well, shit, at the end of a year, you've got 300 people, and that's a huge audience, so anyhow.
If you click on the Facebook button up there, are you able to see
No, it just says you're live, and I'm not sure if we see the Facebook comments. So for those of you on Facebook, we're checking our comments here on Facebook. And it looks like we have
your mom.
Oh, and your mom too. We got our 2 moms watching us on Facebook. Hi, moms.
We have arrived. We don't need
Uh-huh.
anything
We
else
don't
in
need
life.
anything else. That's great.
Our moms
Now we're happy. Both
love
moms
us.
at the same time. Yeah. So that's really the secret, you know?
Yeah, and if you're ready to jump into social media, I mean, you're just ready, you have no shame like us,
Mhm.
then short format videos, you know, that's the hot thing right now.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, all of that, people are getting incredible results with short format videos. I mean, people who started posting on TikTok before the pandemic, now they're like TikTok influencers
Mhm.
with millions of followers. So jump on that.
So we
And
are
I know that our friend, is it the, how is the fallible?
yeah, the Fallible
The
Man.
fallible man. The fallible man. He's on TikTok.
Yeah. And also, you guys haven't checked out the Fallible Man. You got to check him out.
Yeah,
He's
go
here on
check him out.
YouTube as well. So it's
And
very
follow
easy
him on
for you to
TikTok.
click that from the comments, click on his thing and go give him a subscribe and check out his show.
Mhm.
We've been buddies for a while, and we did a pod audit, and it's just really cool to see what you're doing with your podcast and your content and your
Mhm.
brand. Okay, so we're cruising through this. I feel
Yeah.
pretty good about things. Oh no, I just removed that completely from the stream. Okay,
Oh.
here we go. So now we're on step 10.
Mhm.
You can see this is a lot to get out of the way. This is why
Yeah.
people get so overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong with just grabbing your phone, recording a poem, and and starting from there, and then
Mhm.
figure this stuff out too. You don't have to have everything so perfectly lined out in a perfect launch strategy, but if you do have the time,
With that being said, this will put you ahead of your game.
yeah, it'll put you ahead of the game big time, right? So,
Mhm.
and step 10, this is to record and edit 3 episodes. And if you can do that before you launch, if you can give yourself that amount of time before your launch date, that will help tremendously too. Just gives people a chance to binge on a little more of your content there on the platforms. And it can also help to increase downloads, which some people are of the belief that more downloads each day is going to help you rank higher on the charts. That's arguable. And on Apple, it's really the subscribe button, I think, that everybody has agreed with Apple that is what makes you rank higher on Apple's charts. So, and then here's a quick, oh no, whenever you get that apple with the peanut butter, I got to switch to your camera, man, I want one so bad, but I can't do it on camera. I'm not comfortable. Okay. This is a big moment for me. Okay. I can't do it. It was too bad. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay. So I'm sorry you had to see that. So that's it. Just have 3 episodes ready to come out with on the directories. And then step 11 is a posting schedule. And here, what I was also saying before is a weekly and a bi-weekly, like just knowing, am I going to come out with an episode every week or one every 3 days or one every day or one every other week?
Yeah.
And then it's really important not to forget about that you have a social media schedule too.
And don't forget about your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can get into this hamster wheel of creating and posting episodes and pleasing everybody and doing the same thing that Pepito, Martica, Julieta are doing, and then you just want to run, and you don't give yourself the time to breathe. You don't give yourself the time to stop and see if what you're doing it's working, or if you have to change things around, or if you have to just take a moment to reevaluate and refresh your creativity. So this is super important then when you are working on this posting schedule, that you know that okay, I'm going to release this 5 6 7 episodes that are going to be part of my first season, and then I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a creative break because I am a creator and I need my inspiration and I need to have that time for my creativity. In the meantime, I'm going to be interacting with my people on social media so they don't forget about me. I've been telling them on the podcast, hey, I'm on a break, but I am planning things for you and are coming up, and they're coming up hot.
We really should have added that. We really should have added that to the list, which is plan your breaks too.
Yeah.
And I think
breaks.
whenever we talk about these 11 steps in the future, we're going to add that to the list.
Mhm.
Remember to plan your breaks. It's your podcast. You can do whatever schedule you want. So you can have You can do 3 weeks on, 1 week off. You could do 3 episodes a month. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
You just, and then listen to your audience. What do they like, and adapt. And you could do market research, and you can, there are podcasts and YouTubers and TikTokers and content creators and all walks of creative people who are putting out their ideas, who experiment with that every day, and then it grows their channel, or it actually hurts their channel on YouTube to post a video every day. So then they go to posting once a month, and then their channel skyrockets. It's just weird. There's no really right way to do anything. It's just to show up and be your most authentic self, and just trust that you feel like you want to do this, because I love this. At one of the podcasters we interviewed, Erica Hernandez, she mentioned that she's like, not to get all woo woo and stuff, but if you're feeling like doing it, it's because there's probably something out there that it needs you to do it. So we really have to step into the light, and we have to stop being afraid, and we have to honor that calling that we have, right?
And everything that we do, there's an energy attached to it. So if you are going to record your episode and you're exhausted and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be here, like, that's the energy that you're going to transmit. And that piece of content that you created, that episode that you created, is going to go out in the internet universe carrying that energy. But if you are motivated, if you're doing this like because that's your calling, if you do that and you do it because from that point of view, from the stand of service, of serving other people, then that will perform well. And we have experienced that. There has been so many times that we have released podcast episodes, or that sometimes you can feel our energy when we are live here and doing these presentations. Whether before we went live, we just were not very excited, and we were not doing our jumping jacks, and Steven doing his mantras and his breathing and all of the weird
I
things
do a lot
that
of
he
weird
does.
mantras and breathing.
So it
But
shows.
It
shows, and you want to show up for your people, being the best version of yourself.
My friends called it stoga, like Steve yoga. It's kind of weird stretches,
Pendejoga.
Pendejoga. Okay, fine. Pendejoga. That's what it is, but it works. And if it works, you do it. So, man, we had so many good questions, and we're getting to the end of our hour-long live stream.
Is that the step 11? Yeah. Yeah,
that was step 11. So there we go. And then you keep putting out those podcasts, and you are dedicated to keep going for a year or two. At least say, I'm going to post episodes for a year, and then we can reevaluate. I'm not going to look at the comments. I'm not going to look at the questions. That was another advice that we picked up from a podski that we interviewed in that series that we did. We did this series with over 20 podcasters, and there's going to be more videos dropping with them answering some really cool questions for podcasters. So this was super fun. Before we go, as we promised, we want to share with you we mentioned our holiday sale that we have going on. It's our only time.
Yeah, I hope our pictures with the podcracker.
Our pictures of the podcracker
didn't scare you.
Do I have a podcracker behind me too? I do, but he's kind of hiding. We got 2 podcrackers. So
this is super important. If one of your New Year resolutions is to start your podcast, if you know a friend, a family member who have been contemplating the idea of launching their podcast, and they've been like sitting on that idea year after year after year, you're going to give them the push. You're going to be like, hey, I got this for you.
And I was going to put together like a little video presentation, but I think it'd be cooler just to like show you guys inside the course, from the standpoint of when you're in the course, what the course looks like. So it's called the 7-Day Podcast Fast Track. And it, like it sounds like, is 7 days. And it's a minimum of 4 hours of work each day, maybe longer than that, depending on your technical level with editing. You might have to spend a little more time if you're not very comfortable on a computer. And every day, the first day, you get Watch Me First, this video that's a sort of an orientation into the course. And then each day, you get video lessons, and they're short and sweet and to the point. We cut through all the BS because you don't have a lot of time. This is the fast track. And
can you play one of the videos?
Yeah. So if we get here, like this one is find your ideal listener, do your topic research.
Hello, Patsky. Welcome to day.
Oh, and then What did you scare yourself? And yeah, you get your name, you order your gear. We do that. We share the gear with you. We share links with you so that you
Hey,
can.
Podsky, how did the name choose?
Yeah, okay, good. And then that's good. And then also each day when you get a lesson, you also get like here's the podcast gear builder. That's where you can choose and customize your own podcast gear setup. And then you get these downloads every day, which is really fun. Downloadable content that guide you through step by step. So this way, the reason we put it together this way is to take away the overwhelm and take away kind of there's all these elements that you don't kind of know what you should do, when you should do it. And also just to push, to give people that push, like, look, just forget about everything else, schedule 7 days. It doesn't have to be 7 days in a row. Many of our students do 14 days, takes them about a month actually to get through the course because
but you can do it in 7 days.
You
if
can.
You're ready.
And we really encourage that because it's like the time's going to pass anyway. It always does.
Yes.
And the excuses are going to keep coming. There's always going to be something in the way for starting a podcast. And so we really hope that this course is kind of our.
You don't want to be in the same place next year where I want to launch my podcast. No, you want to be next year. Maybe coming to one of our lives, maybe reaching out to us and be like, Pod sounds cool. Thank you. Thank you. Because things are happening for me because I was able to reach out to my community, to my audience. I was able to get feedback, to to get on that entrepreneur route, to grow my audience. I was able to start my business.
Yeah.
I was able to do all these things because of my podcast. That's where we want you to be next year.
Yeah.
And we put together this program to take you to the step by step, all the steps that we mentioned here on the presentation. We take you through those steps. So at the end of day 7, then you'll have a podcast trailer and a couple of podcast episodes posted on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the podcast directories.
All of the podcast directories. Yeah. So it's really fun. And it's kind of our holiday gift to our community because I know that we have a lot of people in our Facebook community and also here on YouTube that have been on the fence or just waiting for that thing. So maybe get started early on your New Year's resolution. And if you already haven't gotten wrapped up in the chaos of the holiday season, maybe now just do it. 7 days, and you can have a podcast.
Yeah.
It can happen that quick because really one thing that we've learned with working with a lot of students and clients is that you really start developing your craft after the fact. Like you got to get some episodes out on the players. You got to actually start getting some feedback from your people. You got to like get uncomfortable and just be like in a constant state of discomfort almost.
Yeah. And it's very interesting how people are getting this not for themselves only, but for other people. That's why I was telling you that they're getting this for their best friend. They're getting this for their mom, for their dad, for their aunt, who want to get those stories, their journeys memorialized in audio type of content, and they can just have a podcast to do that.
And then Big Guy Journey asked, do you guys have packages for people that already have a podcast? And yeah, we do. We actually have a Smart Podcasting on YouTube course that we did with Nick Nimmin. And that is a really fun course that teaches you how to take your existing podcast and then bring it onto YouTube and grow like a virus on YouTube.
Yeah, like it depends on what you want to do. If you want to get better at podcast editing, then Steven has a course on for Reaper. He teaches Reaper.
Yeah.
How to edit on Reaper.
Yeah.
If your goal is that you want to be on YouTube, that you want to be podcasting on YouTube and leverage the YouTube algorithm, then we have Smart Podcasting on YouTube. If you are an entrepreneur and a new entrepreneur and you want to have a social media presence and you want to have a podcast and you want to have an online presence
and you're thinking about monetizing your show as well,
then we have Smart and Sexy
Podcast Launch. And that's our signature course. That's like our big, like full 7-week program. The Smart and Sexy Podcast Launch. The 7-day podcast fast track is just it's a speed, I forget, a spotlight course. It's just a really fast course to get people up and running really quick. So
with that being said, you will learn all the necessary skills you need to launch your podcast. You'll be learning how to edit your podcast with Steven. You'll be learning how to choose your topic with me, how to plan your episodes with me. We have, plenty of video lessons for you. So you launch your podcast, and you're going to be in good hands.
Yeah, and then like Veronica mentioned too, what we're doing is you can give it as a gift as well. So if you do know anybody, we set it up to where when you sign up for the course, you go to podcastingsmart.com. Let me see if I could show you what that looks like. Fast track, and it would take you to this page here. And from this page, you can say I'm up for the challenge, or basically just get to the holiday sale that we have, and we're doing 40% off the usual price of $247. So it's only $148, and that's we've only got 3 days left of the sale. But when you actually go through it and you sign up, you get a coupon code, a one-time single use, like your own unique coupon that comes in an email. And that's a little bit different from our other packages, which is kind of fun. We had to figure out how to set that up so that you could actually give it as a gift. So you can send that coupon code, and then that will that will allow somebody separate from you to sign up their own account and unlock this. So that's really fun because hobby gifts are, and a lot of people look at podcasting as a hobby, which is kind of not necessarily what it is, but gifts that are transformational or that help people's lives can be funner than
instead of getting the impersonal gift card or the potpourri, or the re-gifted candle, or the
so
then you give this to maybe somebody is looking for a hobby, maybe somebody's looking for a platform to share their story,
or maybe they've been talking about it for 3 years.
They've been talking about it for 3 years. Maybe
or they are, or they're a business owner and entrepreneur. It's like, do you have a podcast for your business yet? Because and it's good, and it's the coupon never expires. Lifetime access to the course, like all of our courses, they're always updated, and you get lifetime access to the updates or any new releases to our courses. So there you go. That's I wanted to tell you about that with this live stream as well too.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, we're wrapping up this live stream. What did you think of the 11 steps to starting a podcast? A lot of really cool comments. Thank you guys all.
I cannot tell you how excited and how happy this Saturday lives with you guys make me. This is like the highlight of my weekend, just to come here and chat with you, and just not listening because I can't, but reading your comments and see your progress, and it makes my day. It fills my heart with a lot of joy.
Yeah, likewise, definitely super grateful for y'all. I'm getting better, more natural saying y'all. I had to put Tristan up there. Tristan's been
Tristan.
Yeah, how's it going? Been hanging around and coming to was in our Facebook group a long time ago, would come to the thing. So
you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you guys are really awesome, and let us know if you ever have any questions. Twitter for me, Instagram for Veronica at Pod Sound School. Also, right here on YouTube is a great place to comment.
We're going to drop the link for the 7-day podcast fast track here in the description of this.
Yeah, and you could just go to our main channel. We have our promo video for it on our main channel as well too. If you know anyone,
or if you want more information, you can go to podcastingsmart.com/fast track.
Yep.
Right?
And podcastingsmart.com/fast track. Yep.
Track.
Saludos, Jorge. And
Jorge.
And with consultations, you can also go to our link tree for consultations. We also will do consultations. I think we have something set up where that's on a Friday basis. There's a form that you fill out for our consultation. So
we're a little busy right now, but
our consultation, those are kind of filled up for a while. We also we're doing some videos for some sponsorship videos as well too. So the consultation is a little filled up right now, but definitely stay in contact with us and hit me up on Twitter.
Yeah.
And you can hit Veronica up on Instagram too.
And
just send your questions over. We'll be happy to help you with any, or point you in the right direction, or set up a consultation. So, all right, you guys, well, have a beautiful rest of your weekend. The holiday seasons are among us. So hopefully you are staying safe and warm and cozy and all that.
We got mad last night and we put the Christmas tree up.
Yeah, so we were up until 2 a.m. putting the Christmas tree up, but it's okay. It was wonderful.
Yeah, at least we didn't wait until December 23rd.
It was nice, and I just love
Christmas trees up until February.
Yeah. So we're getting into the festivities. We'll finally get around to celebrating Christmas in February. And okay, well, you guys, we'll catch you next time, same place. 12 p.m. Eastern
Mhm.
time. We're doing our PSS Saturday lives,
Mhm.
and we'll keep you posted with any fun events or anything that we're planning. Also, if you have any ideas of what you'd like to see us do in these lives, let us know.
Mhm.
We're thinking about going back to doing some podcast audits where we pick your podcast apart in
Mhm.
front of the audience here, and in a
Loving way.
in the theme of constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially really fun for us if we've never had the chance to listen to your podcast yet. We love that because then it gives you that first person critique.
Yeah.
And we'll look at your social media, we'll look at everything else. So if you're interested in that, let us know, and let us know what other ideas you have. But otherwise, we'll see
Yeah.
you here at the same
And
time,
before you
same place.
go,
Two
the
things.
same two things. No olviden hacer la tarea. Oh, they're different. And don't forget to sign up for the 7-day podcast fast track.
Oh, yeah. So those aren't the same
I'll
two
see
things.
you inside the course.
All right. Happy casting.
Happy casting.